While there are growing concerns that dissenting views about climate change are being shut down, just down the road from COP26 in Glasgow, a group of analysts and experts scrutinized the UN's climate policies at a counter COP26 event. It comes as net zero policies begin to be implemented around the world and unprecedented levels of investment are announced. NTD's Jane Werrell is in Glasgow and met with speakers from the Climate Reality Forum.
Well, as world leaders and thousands of others gathered here in Glasgow for the COP26 summit, a counter COP26 summit was happening at the same time, hosted by the American think tank the Heartland Institute, with experts from the US, here in the UK and Europe. They say that more scrutiny is needed and questioned exactly how environmentally friendly the UN climate policies actually are.
I'm very concerned about the environment. That's why I'm opposing carbon dioxide restrictions, because their proposed solution is wind and solar power, both of which have extreme negative environmental consequences. Wind power, for example, peer-reviewed study by Harvard University scientists finds that to replace conventional electricity in America with wind turbines, you'd have to cover a third of our country with wind turbines. And if you mandate electrified vehicles, now you have to make it half the country. That would be absolutely devastating to wildlife, to ecosystems, to our natural beauty, to anything that you treasure about the environment.
Researchers have mixed views on whether solar panels are actually good for the environment. Lord Monckton's view is that net zero solutions at the UN conference are actually net adders.
But if your aim is to reduce the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere, then wind and solar power are not the best way to do it. And solar power has an additional difficulty in which the 6,000 degrees Celsius at which the polysilicon must be baked consumes so much energy when you make the solar panel that it will not, in its entire lifetime, produce as much energy as the energy that was required to produce the solar panel. And that means that all solar panels are also net adders of CO2 to the atmosphere.
There are also differing views on how much of the change in the Earth's temperature is actually caused by man. Over 2 days, the forum presented data and science, countering what they call the alarmism presented at the UN summit. They're concerned there isn't an open scientific debate on climate change policies.
Whatever your particular policy agenda is, it always helps to have people questioning that and to ask difficult questions. But there's such a momentum now, there's such a groupthink in the main COP conference that they can't ask these searching questions. So that's what we're doing here at the Climate Reality Forum.
They also question the human rights issues involved in the solar panel production chain.
China has basically a monopoly on cobalt coming from the Congo, allegations of child labor from groups like Amnesty International. Then you even go to China, the solar panels, the Uyghur slaves, they're Muslim Uyghur slaves in China that they're using. And the Biden administration is willing to give it a complete pass on all human rights violations if China will just sign on to the climate agenda. So what's happening here is people are willing to get energy that's coming from countries that are hostile regimes and countries with horrible human rights record and horrible environmental standards, all because of this utopian vision that we're going to solve climate change.
Craig Rucker from CFACT says the economic costs involved in switching to net zero could prove unpopular with voters.
I think there's a disconnect. I think among those who maybe are in the educated elite, maybe government officials, same dichotomy that you see in the United States. There's a lot of support from it, kind of intellectual, but among the grassroots, the plumbers, the workers, the carpenters, which are a lot of the people that we wound up staying without in Prestwick, I think they see through it. And they do not support their country driving up utility prices. And I don't think they buy the climate alarm nonsense that we're all going to die in 12 years.
And within Parliament, Boris Johnson may be facing political challenges too, with MPs recently forming a net zero scrutiny group. Jane Werrell, NTD News in Glasgow.